Hey there YouTube, I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to another video of what I call As West Travels. You guys know I am not a full-time YouTuber, and so you know what I do? When I have business travel, I just bring you with me. So welcome to the amazing Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. I absolutely love this city. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about something that is happening, the groundswell right here in this city, and it's this, a Bitcoin ETF. We're going to talk about why a Bitcoin ETF is so important. We're going to talk about the rumors swirling around it. And I'm also going to even explain what the heck an ETF is in common language that even I can understand. So we're going to cover all of this, and then we're going to cover what I think it means for the market. This should be a really fun video because there's so much hype going on around this, and I'm going to kind of demystify all of it for you. So all of this and so much more coming right up. So I find myself in Washington, D.C. this week, and if I can be honest, it's one of my most favorite places on planet Earth, not just for the incredible sights and all of the rich history here, but it's a city full of action. We know it's full of action in terms of all the policy and law that's constantly being created. It really is one of the epicenters of the entire world. And when we think about crypto, it's amazing to think that 10 years ago, no one would have dreamed that there would be congressional meetings and there would be policy and law and executive orders being spoken about with cryptocurrency. But yet here we are today. And I don't think any of that's a bad thing. I think it's exciting to see this is where innovation brings us. It brings us the attention of some of the most powerful people on earth. And so these are some things I'm very, very excited about to cover in today's video. So thanks for coming along with me as we jump right into today's action.
So the first way to get started is to talk about what an ETF is in the first place, because that is the foundational point before we can even talk about a Bitcoin ETF. And so an ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, and it's an investment vehicle that a lot of people really like because it gives them flexibility, it gives them tax advantages, and the capabilities of using capital that they've earned in certain ways. They just let them be able to maximize their investments is probably the best way to say it. Now, at this point, I should also say I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not trying to be one. And so take what I say here and use it with a grain of salt and understand this is not financial advice. And so that's really what an ETF is and what causes it to have unique advantages as an investment vehicle. And there are a ton of motivations of why someone would even want an ETF. One of those is people are just looking for gains and losses. That's what they're after. They're not actually looking at buying and owning assets. Stocks are similar to this as well, as many people don't really view, hey, I own stock, therefore I'm an owner, and I'm really buying this stock because I want to be an owner in the company. It doesn't usually, that's not the main motivation. An ETF is similar to that. It gives you access to gains and losses of a particular index and therefore asset that you like, but it doesn't require you to actually own that asset. And that's one of the unique advantages of an ETF across the board, and simply would be the same for a Bitcoin ETF as well. There's many people that don't really want to own Bitcoin. Believe it or not, they don't. And that may be foreign to people like you and me that love that. Many of us are technology first. We love the idea of holding and securing our crypto and maintaining our private keys. The fact is, my friends, the vast majority of people have no interest at all in that. Same reason we all use banks. Like, we don't want to have to store our money under a mattress. I want the bank to handle the security of my actual fiat. And I think crypto is the same way, which causes an ETF to be valuable because it allows people or investors to get into Bitcoin itself without actually having to hold it, without actually having to secure it, without actually having to manage wallets. And they see all the hacks that happen. They see all the insecurities. And the truth is, most of us, we're simply not prepared and able and capable to protect our crypto on our own, right? We're just not. And so this is a major advantage to those kinds of people. And there's one other advantage too that I wanted to share that I think is pretty important. And it's this right here is ETFs give you the ability to short sell as well. And short selling is we're not going to get too deep into that in this channel, but basically it's if you think the price of something is going to go down, you can do a short sell, which allows you to make gains upon that market collapsing or that market going down in value. And so ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, give you the capability of doing that. You would have the capability of saying, hey, I think this is going down. I'm going to do a short sell now before the market drops and potentially come ahead. Now, not everyone takes advantage of that capability in an ETF, but it's certainly a strategic advantage for people that really think they know the market, want to time it. Of course, we know it's really difficult to do that in the crypto space. Everyone's always talking about price speculation. The truth is, none of us know, not even us YouTubers, but it does have that capability as an ETF to allow short selling as well. So I wanted to mention that as well.
So the second thing I thought we should talk about, and I figured it would be apt to do this right here in front of the Treasury Department for this section, is, even though it's really the SEC that makes this decision, is why the heck have we not seen a Bitcoin ETF come out yet? And there are some reasons for this, but a lot of it really just comes down to this. Regulators feel like it is still too unstable, and they're not wrong. I mean, you look at what happens day in and day out, month in and month out, we see tremendously, like, huge changes in the market. And if you talk to any regulator, what they're going to tell you is it's our job to protect our customers, our constituents, our citizens. That's what they'll say. Whether you agree with that or not, that is why, that is their justification and reason why we have not yet seen an ETF take place. Now, does that mean though that we're not going to see an ETF take place? Like, does that mean that there will never be an ETF that comes out for Bitcoin? No. In fact, a lot of the news that's been swirling around recently even is that an ETF is on the way. I've seen some articles that have come out, and I'll even show you, that are saying it's imminent within the next week or two. We've seen articles even as much as like last year and the year before of some regulators speaking somewhat anonymously saying there's a 90% chance it'll happen. Yet it hasn't happened yet. So we do know it's coming. I mean, there's no question that a Bitcoin ETF is coming, and it will be big for the market because there's going to be a lot of big money and institutional money that will jump into ETFs, but it hasn't happened yet. And the primary reason is regulators are the ones that make the call. SEC has the ultimate authority on ETFs for when they would come out and how it would come out. Now, there's been a lot of people that have tried. The Winklevoss brothers from Gemini are probably the most notable, although there are others as well that have tried and failed. Doesn't mean they've given up. Doesn't mean that anyone's given up on this, because I think the first to market with a Bitcoin ETF is going to be one of the ones that's going to have the most success. And so we're going to see it happen. The question is just going to be when. And finally, the last question I want to answer is this. When the eventual ETF, Bitcoin ETF, comes and it's finally approved, because I think we all agree it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when, what's it going to do to the market? There's two sides of this camp. Many people that you read say, you know, you should always play the classic buy the rumor, sell the news. In other words, if there's rumor leading up to a Bitcoin ETF and we're seeing the evidence of it, buy, and then sell as soon as that happens. And I've seen a lot of people out there that say as soon as an ETF comes, I'm going to sell that because I don't think it's going to impact the market that much, and that's the best time to sell, is right when the news kicks in. The other camp is a little bit different. They're much more in the secondary side, saying things like, look, this is going to be big for the market. It's going to introduce new demand that has never occurred before. There's many, many people, not just wealthy people, but people that have an alternative 401k or an IRA really, or other money just sitting aside, and they'd love to get into crypto. And as we just said many times before in this video, they just didn't have access to it. And those are the people in that camp that say that's going to create all kinds of new demand. And think about it, when an eventual ETF is finally released, what's going to be the ramifications of it? I'll tell you this, every exchange out there is going to start offering that ETF. And I don't mean Bitcoin exchanges, I mean classic stock exchanges. So many people for the first time will be able to get into it, and I really do think that's what's going to drive new demand. Now, for me personally, I'm much more in that second camp. I think the ETF is going to be a big deal for us. Now, you guys know on this channel, we don't do price speculation, so I have no idea what an upcoming and eventual ETF would do to the market. I just happen to be in the camp that I think it's good for Bitcoin. I think it gives broader exposure to so many more people that would want to get into it, and it's going to be good for the market overall. So I'd love to know what you guys think about this video. What do you think the impact of a Bitcoin ETF is going to be? Do you think it's imminent? Do you think it's a ways away? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment down below, and I'd love to read and see what you guys believe on this as well. And hey, while you're here, I hope you guys have enjoyed me bringing you with me to Washington, D.C., the epicenter of the American nation. This has been a great time here. I love D.C. so much. One thing you can do for me, would you hit like and subscribe, and definitely hit the bell icon? That goes a really long way for this channel. And I do have memberships. They're all right down here. Again, I never point in the right direction. I'm never going to. I'd love for you to check those memberships out. I think it's a great opportunity for you to get involved in a deeper way with me if that's the right choice for you. So check that out as well. All right, my friends, thank you guys so much.